In the beginning of the drama, we see our female lead Lene who is going to school while ignoring our male lead Jian. She tells that Jian is her neighbor and childhood friend too. Even since childhood, she has got the tag of his sister because they have dinner together, go to school, and study together. But everyone has been noticing only Jian. So now she wants that in high school, everyone should know her by her name and not as Jian's sister. By the way, here Jian sees her. While running away and hiding, when she comes down through a wall, then some children run away with the bricks kept there, and she gets stuck on the wall. Now she was about to fall when Jian catches her. He asks, "Why are you awarding me?" She says, "I am not ignoring. I am practicing rock climbing for Olympics." Jian says there is no rock climbing game in Olympics. Then she tells that now in high school she wants to be famous not by his sister's name, but by her own name. So she tells him that he should also avoid her in high school. Then he also silently agrees, and both of them go in different directions. On the way, Jian sees his father, but he ignores him because he was a #1 gambler and his relationship was not good with him. On the other hand, Lin runs away with a brick to teach those children a lesson. Now Jian was also in the same bus she takes, and he asks her to throw the brick because everyone was staring at her. Now where will she throw it in the moving bus, so she puts it in her bag. Then on the way she falls asleep. Then Jian takes a funny photo of her with his camera and keeps her head on his shoulder so that it does not hit the window. After some time they reach school. Here Lina reminds him again that they both will remain strangers to each other. He says okay and pastes the same funny photo on her backside, and due to which everyone starts staring at her. She is very happy that everyone is staring at her from the first day itself. Even in the class, a boy named Gogo himself befriends her and tells her that the photo behind looks very cool, and he starts laughing. When Lina sees this photo, she gets very angry at Jian and slaps her desk so hard that her desk mate's copy gets torn. This makes her desk mate CJ very angry, and Gogo was laughing. Then Lina takes out a brick from her bag. Seeing this, everyone gets scared. Her desk mate CJ takes her desk away from her and says, "Don't disturb me." Gogo also says sorry to her that he was just joking. After that, Jian gives a speech at the welcoming of freshers where maximum girls had come to see him because he was so popular in the school. Hearing his speech, some girls say, "Wow, what a speech." Here Lina says, "It will be good because this is my thought." Hearing this, a girl asks, "What is the relationship between you and him?" Now she was going to tell when she remembers that she has to make her own identity here. So she says that he is her senior, and she changes the topic. In the next scene, she sticks a lot of motivational papers on her desk, but after some time, she falls asleep in the class. After that, at lunchtime, she goes to the auditorium and tries to give a speech like Jian. Then she thinks, why not take a selfie? But while taking the selfie, she falls so much that the guard comes to know that there is someone inside. Then she quickly hides in the broadcasting room. The guard sees her camera and he takes it with him. Now she tries to get out from there, but finds that the room is locked. In the next scene, we see Linya's camera in the guard's hand, and he says, "It is mine. I had forgotten it in the auditorium in the morning." Then he goes to the auditorium and sees that Lene is locked there. She asks him to open the door, but instead of it, he starts taking her photo to tease her. In the meantime, the guard sees them. Then we see both of them in the head office. The head teacher asks, "What were you both doing there alone?" He asks, "Is there something going on between you two?" On which Lina starts saying, "There is no relationship between us," and they both say together, "No." Lina says, "We both don't even know each other." Then the teacher looks at the document of both and finds that their father's name was the same. So he understands that they are stepbrother and sister. But still, Lina gets the punishment of cleaning, due to which she gets angry that she got caught because of Jian, and the punishment is also given to her alone. Then she gets stuck in her lace and falls. After that, Jian ties her lace. And here CJ also sees the scene. After school, CJ asks Lina, "What is the relationship between you and Jian?" Now she has to tell that he is her neighbor and childhood friend, and also her stepbrother. She says, "I cannot tell all this to everyone because I want to make my identity with my own name and not as Jian's sister." Then the next day we see that some men get defeated by Jian's father in gambling and refuse to give money to him, due to which a fight starts between them. While Jian is also going from there, but he ignores them. Here, out of fear, they give money to Jian's father and go away. After that, Jiyeon's father says to him, "Till date, you have never called me dad." And while giving some money to him, he says, "After a few days, I will not come home." The goons see them and they come to know that this boy is his son. After that, they start venting their anger on Jiyeon. They start beating him badly. They see that he is disabled, but still they beat him. After that, Linya sees them and comes to protect Jiyeon with a stick. But instead of that, the goons attack her. Then Jiyeon protects her and was about to kill a man in anger. But Linya stops him from doing this. Then a boy comes on a bicycle and beats them. After that, Linya hugs Jiyeon and starts crying. Jiyeon tells her to be quiet and asks her to go to his house and freshen up before going to her house. In the next scene, we see both of them at Jiyeon's house. Jiyeon tells her that, "I will not go to your house for a few days. You make some excuse to your parents." Then he pats her hair. She says, "It is all my mistake. I should not have avoided you." She says, "From now on we both will go to school together because making my identity is not more important than you." Now we see the scene of a flashback where because of Linya, Jiyeon had an accident, and after this accident one of his legs had to be amputated. This made Jiyeon's father very angry with Linya's father. Due to guilt, Linya's father promises him that he is ready to take full responsibility of Jiyeon, and from now on he will treat him like his own son. After this incident, he becomes Linya's elder brother. Then the scene comes in the present where Jiyeon wakes up from sleep and sees an artificial leg near his bed and understands that Linya had told everything to her father, and he has bought a new artificial leg for him. So he goes to her house to thank him. Linya's father says if any such problem arises in the future, then do let him know. After that, we see Jiyeon, and he writes in his note that Uncle Loo has to pay $1,000 for the artificial leg, which means that he keeps a record of everything that Linya's father has been doing for him so far so that he can repay him in the future. Linya sees on her mobile that all the students of the school have come to know about yesterday's news, and everyone starts talking about the relation between them, that how can they be brother and sister. On the other hand, Gogo spreads a different rumor that Linya and Jiyeon's marriage was fixed in childhood, but now their families have become enemies of each other, so both of them are hiding their relationship. Then Linya comes there and says, "So our families have become enemies, and I am the only one who does not know this," and asks him to stop talking nonsense. After that, the girls of the school give Linya a lot of gifts and love letters for Jiyeon. While CJ was getting very angry at all this because her studies were getting disturbed, so she scolds everyone and sends them away. In the next scene, there is voting for the class representative where Linya votes for CJ, and due to which she becomes the study representative. But Linya gets angry because due to so many duties now her studies are getting disturbed. At break time, Linya overhears some boys talking nonsense about Jiyeon's artificial leg, on which she starts scolding them, but Jiyeon takes her away from there. In the next scene, we see that CJ was not able to find a partner in PT class, so Linya comes there and becomes her partner, and she also says sorry to her. After which CJ forgives her, and then both become friends. After that, in the classroom, Linya sees a notebook of CJ. Then CJ tells her that she gives scores to all the boys she meets according to their behavior, their personality, and intelligence, so that in this way in the future she can confess her love to her Mr. Perfect. Hearing this, Linya asks her, "Which boy has the highest score till now?" CJ tells that it is Jiyeon's. Linya gets shocked to hear this. In the next scene, she gives all the gifts to Jiyeon and starts reading all the love letters one by one. In one letter, some bad things were written about Jiyeon's artificial leg. Seeing this, she hides that letter and goes to her house. After some time, Jiyeon's father comes home, who is completely drunk after drinking alcohol. Then he was saying whatever came to his mind. He says, "You are just like your mother, a stone-hearted person." Then Jiyeon closes the door in irritation. In the next day, Linya finds out who wrote that letter and starts fighting with those boys. Then CJ comes and stops her, saying, "If you do such violence, you will get punishment." Then CJ gives her an idea. "I have a great plan to teach them a lesson." In the next scene, we see that both the boys look at their desks. There is a note for them in which a girl invites them to the biology room. Then after school, they leave happily. After that, they go to the biology classroom, but there is a horror atmosphere there, and they get scared seeing the dancing skeleton. Then Linya comes out and twists the hand of one of them and says, "If you say anything wrong about Jiyeon, then I will complain to the teacher that you both cheat in exams." Then they also run away from there in fear. Then we see both the boys where they talk that Linya will have to be taught a lesson. Now Jian hears all this and comes to them and tells them, I don't know what you both are talking about, but if you hurt Linya, then it will reach the teacher that you both cheat in the exam. And he plays a recording in which they were planning to cheat in the exam. Now they apologize to Jian that they will not harm Linya again. After school, Lin and Jian are going home. Here Linya was feeling very proud after teaching a lesson to those boys. But Jian scolds her, you should never do such a thing in the future because you will keep on silencing everyone saying that I am a loser and I am a coward and I am disabled. She says to him, how can you say such a thing? In childhood you used to calm everyone down by giving them a rude reply, then why not now? Then she leaves from there angrily. Now to convince her, Jian starts walking by keeping his feet on her sides. She says, don't keep your feet on my sides like this. I will not grow up. Then Jian asks her to go for a spicy hot pot dinner, on which she gets ready on hearing the name of hot pot. Then she asks him to promise her that he will never think like this about himself, that he is a loser. In the next scene, she goes to her regular comic shop and asks for her next top score comic book, but the shop owner tells her that a boy named Mr. Arrogance has already bought it. Then she asks about another comic book which was again bought by Mr. Arrogance. This thing irritates her a lot. She thinks, who is this guy? In the next scene, everyone has a family dinner where everyone's face was gloomy because such a dish was made for dinner which Linya's mother never made edible. But no one said anything against it. Here Jian tells them that he is going for competition training for a week. Now since he was going for training for a few weeks, Linya was worried that who will help him in studies these days. She was not able to decide which subject to start studying so that he does not fail in the exam. So for this, she takes the help of a hen whom she considered her fortune teller. Then she throws a cheat paper towards this hen with the name of the subject written on it. The hen also chooses a cheat and returns it to her which had math subject written on it. Then she throws some paper cheats for Jian asking how his training is going to go. The hen returns a cheat to her in which it was written that he is going to meet his rival soon. Then Linya gives him a lucky charm, but he does not take it. In the next scene, when Jian leaves for training, he sees that Linya had kept that lucky charm in his bag. He gets happy and keeps it with him. On the other hand, we see a scene of school where a cool guy enters Linya's class, whose name was Si-chain, and he was also Gogo's friend. Seeing Linya, he says, wow, you are in the same class. She thinks, have we ever met? After that, Si-chain asks Gogo, what is this girl's name? Gogo asks, are you interested in her? Then Si-chain says, no, there is nothing like that. After that, she starts staring at Linya, who is reading a comic, and then Si-chain starts spoiling the story. This irritates Linya. Then he comes in front of her desk and tries to talk to her, but she is not interested at all. Then he shows his half face and says, you are not recognizing me yet. Then Linya also remembers that it was this boy who saved them from the bicycle that day. She says, but your hair was very long. Si-chain says, I had to cut it to take admission in college. Now CJ was getting irritated by their talks because it was disturbing her studies. In the next scene, we see that there is a selection for the basketball team, and here Si-chain plays very well. But he sees that his name was not in the list. On the other hand, in the training class, we see a boy named Jack who was the national chemistry contest champion last year. After some time, Jian also reaches there. Then the students start praising him, saying, he is the physics champion, and it seems that he will also become the chemistry champion. Hearing all this, Jack feels jealous. On the other hand, in the math class, Linya was not attentive in the class, so the teacher calls her to solve a math problem. Now Linya is worried about what to write, and then in the meantime, the bell rings. On the other hand, Si-chain asks the basketball coach the reason for his not being selected, whether it was his father's order, but the coach does not tell anything. On the other hand, Jack tries to talk to Jian, but Jian completely ignores him. While at home, Linya's mom starts telling her, your math teacher called me and said that you do not pay attention in class. Then she snatches her comic book and quietly asks her to study. After that, Linya calls Jian and asks him, when will you come? She says, if you are not there, then my mom has become a stepmom. She only gives lectures. Jian says that he will come after 2 days and starts asking about her homework, then she cuts the call. In the next scene, Linya's entire class is called to the auditorium where Si-chain comes wearing a hoodie. The principal asks him to show his face. Then he removes the cap from his head, and everyone is very impressed to see him because he looks so cool with red hair. Then the principal orders to suspend him from school immediately until he dyes his hair black. In the next scene, Lena returns all her comic books to the shop, and here she finds C-Chain. Then she comes to know that C-Chain is the same Mr. Arrogance. He says, wow, both of us have similar tastes. After that, he takes her to the basketball ground and asks her to play so that her mood improves. Then he helps her put the ball in the basket, but she hangs there. Then C-Chain also jumps and hangs in the basket and asks her to shout, and he also shouts. After which she feels very good. Then she asks C-Chain, do you like playing basketball a lot? He says, yes, basketball is my dream. Lena says, then don't be sad. It is not necessary that you play with the school team only. You can establish your own basketball club and make your own team. On which he says, but my father will not accept my application because the principal is his father. She says, don't worry about my name. The application will be accepted, and she asks him to come to school tomorrow after dyeing his hair. In the next scene at home, Lena starts telling Jian about C-Chain that he is the new student in her class, and he is also Mr. Arrogance, but is very good. But Jian doesn't like hearing so much about another boy. Then he thinks the rival has entered. Next day, they come to know that their application has not been submitted. C-Chain understands that this can only be the work of his father. He directly goes to him and threatens to drop them out of school. Then Lin, A, and CJ also come and request the principal that they should be given a chance. Then the principal also agrees and says, your team will have to compete with the school team. If you win, then the application will be accepted. After that, they get worried that the challenge has been accepted, but they don't have a team. In the name of the team, there was only C-Chain and Gogo. Then after coming home, Lin tells her problem to Jian, where Jian says, you should sleep peacefully now. In the morning when you go to school, you will find the right players. While the next day when she goes to school, the same two boys were ready to join her team. Actually, Jian had asked them to join the team in exchange for cheating in the exam and keeping the matter secret. On the other hand, Jian was not getting his lucky charm. Then we see that it is in Jack's hand. In return, Jack asks him to compete with him, on which Jian also agrees. They compete to solve a chemistry question where Jian starts solving it after, but he solves it before time, so Jack has to return the lucky charm. After that, Lin sends C-Chain's photo to Jian and tells that this is the C-Chain. On the other hand, their match starts. In the beginning, C-Chain's team was playing well, but in the end they lose due to some points. After that, Linda talks to the principal where he says, your team played well, but rules are rules. Now Jian also returns from the training class and he meets Lina. Lina says, we lost. Then Jian tells her not to be sad. Just then C-Chain also comes and he invites Lina for lunch, where Lina tells him, this is my brother. That C-Chain also remembers that the boy who was beaten that day was the same. After that, everyone has lunch together where Lina tells C-Chain to eat spicy food and he also starts eating to impress her. But it was so spicy that her condition worsens. After that, C-Chain asks her if there is any boy in school who is her crush. But before she could say anything, Jian says no. Then C-Chain says, your brother is more grumpy than your parents. On which she says, maybe he is not that grumpy. After that, they both were going home where Lina says, C-Chain is a bit blunt, but he is a good boy. Both of our interests are also quite similar. Then she asks whether you have thrown away my lucky charm or kept it, on which he shows that he has kept it safely. Next day, the monthly test starts in the school where now Jack had also been transferred to their school. When the result of the test comes out, all the students are shocked because for the first time someone had defeated Jian, and it was none other than Jack. Seeing this, Lina says, how is it possible that someone can defeat my brother? Then C-Chain says, forget about your brother and look at your result. You have failed in 2 subjects. On which she says, you also look at yours. So you have passed in only 2 subjects. After that, Jack goes to Jian very happily and says, have you checked your score? Now you have accepted defeat. But Jian was ignoring him, but Jack was not ready to calm down. Jian says, if you want to go, then go, while cleaning the window. On the other hand, now CJ's new scorecard was ready in which Jack had come on top. Lina does not like this at all. She tells CJ that, you will see that in the next exam Jian will top. In the next scene, the class teacher says to Jian and Jack that this time there is only one quota in the chemistry contest, so Jian, your chemistry is not strong, so you choose physics and give Jack a chance in chemistry. But Jian wanted to try chemistry this time, and Jack also says that I also do not want a chance. I want to compete properly. Then the teacher says, okay, then both of you be ready for chemistry tryouts. In the next scene, Jack says to Jian that if you choose physics, then we both could have topped in our respective subjects. But Jian was ignoring her words and told him to close the door before leaving. This hurts him even more. Next at home, Lina knew that Jian's chemistry is not very strong, so she prepares a lot of methods to improve his chemistry. Seeing this, her mother says, wow, you don't even know about your own studies, and you are trying to improve the studies of a top student. On the other hand, we see Jian's father, who is asking for money from Linia's father. He says that, I have a family of my own and I don't have much money to give to you. But Jian's father takes it by force. On the other hand, Jian sees that Lina has kept a notebook for him with his lucky hen, which had tricks to improve chemistry. Seeing this, he becomes very happy and takes that notebook to school as well. Next day at school, Jack sees this notes and says that, now with these methods you can compete with me. Then he gives him some proper chemistry notes, saying that my competitor should not be weak. On which Jian also thanks him. Meanwhile, we see Lin A and C-Chain sitting together where C-Chain asks, what is the matter, are you worried? She says everyone is saying that Jian will lose anyway, but I don't believe it. He says, even I don't believe it, I am with you. Then Lina says, let's bet on who will win. You bet on Jian and I will bet on Jack. Just then Jian comes there and says, so you are betting on Jack. Now she wanted to explain to him, but Jian leaves from there. C-Chain says to her, you always support Jian, then why are you betting on Jack? On which she says, because since childhood I bet on whoever he loses for sure. C-Chain says, then it is okay, if you lose the bet then you will have to agree to one thing of mine. She says, okay, I promise. Then at night, C-Chain goes to the office to make Jian win and steal the chemistry paper. While CJ had left her mobile there, so she also goes to get it back, and then she catches C-Chain stealing the paper there. Then C-Chain shows the paper and says, look, I am not stealing. I am taking the paper of another class. But she does not look at the paper because she was a topper and an honest student. Next day, C-Chain gives that paper to Jian, but Jian tears the paper saying, I do fair competition. Then at class school, the teacher calls CJ and C-Chain to the office and showing the CCTV footage asks, what were you both doing yesterday? Then they explain that they did not go to steal the paper, but the teacher angrily asks him to write a self-criticism. After that, CJ was very angry with C-Chain because she had to write a self-criticism for the first time. In the next scene, Jian was memorizing the periodic table where Lina fell asleep while studying. He then writes the names of the elements on her face and starts memorizing. In the next scene, Jian was going for his chemistry tryouts, but he was not feeling well. Lin asks him to take medicine, but he refuses, saying that he might fall asleep during the exam. So he reaches the exam in that condition, where Jack notices that he is not feeling well, but somehow he completes his chemistry tryouts and defeats Jack. Then Jack asks Jian, how much practice did you do that you defeated me? On which Jian says, how much practice did you do? Then Jack asks him, why did you choose chemistry? He says, because it has the highest bonus. In the next scene, Lin comes to pick up Jian and asks him to take medicine. Then she asks, how was the tryout? When he says nothing, she assumes that he lost and she starts saying, it's okay, you tried, and anyway you were sick today. Jian also lets her get a little upset and then tells her that he defeated Jack. The next day, Jack congratulates Jian and also says that he won't take it lightly next time. Meanwhile, C-Chain says, I am happy that because of Jian I was able to bet with Lina. Now our friendship will become stronger. One day while traveling through the bus, Lina notices that traveling in a bus is not good for Jian because his leg may get hurt due to the jostling. So she decides to learn cycling so that she can bring him back from school. She takes her father's help in learning the cycle, but she falls so much and damages the cycle that her father says, let it be, won't be able to do it. Then she asks C-Chain to teach her. Now after school, they go to learn cycling where Gogo was also coming with them. Here C-Chain gestures Gogo to go so that they can spend time together. But here Jian sees them. Lina tells C-Chain that she has to bring Jian to school, so she wants to learn cycling. Hearing this, C-Chain does not like it. In the next scene, Jian says to Jack that, "Can you give me your cycle the next day to practice?" Jack says, "Okay, but will you be able to ride it? Will your leg pain?" Hearing this, Jian says, "No, the doctor said there is no problem, but how do you know about my leg?" On which Jack says, "You're my opponent, of course. I know everything about you." Now Lina is learning cycling with C-Chain while Jian takes Jack's help to learn cycling. Well, these are topper students who learn according to their calculations. Then in the next scene, C-Chain accompanies Lina till her home where her mother sees them and asks C-Chain to have dinner too. Then he goes to Linia's house very excited, where Linia's mother asks him to eat. The food was not tasty at all, but to make an impression he says, "You cook very well." After that, Jian goes to drop C-Chain down and asks him, "What is your method of riding a cycle?" On which C-Chain says, "It means you also want to learn cycling." He says, "Already Lin A is learning to carry you." Then he says, "What did I say it was a secret?" But knowing this, Jian gets very happy that she is learning cycling for him. On the other hand, Linia's mother's work was not going well. The product which was to be sold was not selling. While on the other hand, we see Jian's father, who after losing money in gambling starts asking for money from Jian. Then Jian shows that he has paid the household bills with all the money he won in the competition. Hearing this, his father starts abusing his mother. Jian says, "You have no right to say anything about her." Then he starts missing his mother a lot and talks to her in a chat. Just then Lina also comes there with her hen. After seeing a watch near Jian, she says, "This watch is your mother's, right?" Then she asks, "Are you missing her?" Then she tries to make his mood better and asks him to come to her house for dinner. After that, they have dinner together, and this time also they have to eat rubbish, but no one dares to say that the food is bad. But when Linia's mother herself tastes it, then it is revealed that it is really bad. After that, both of them practice cycling for a few days and finally learn it. After that, Lina goes to his house to surprise him by riding. She calls him for a ride where he does not tell her that he already knew about it. Lina says, "From tomorrow I will take you to school and bring you back." In the next day, she calls him where Jian had bought a new cycle for her because her old cycle was her mother's, which was not comfortable for her. Then he also brings out his cycle. Seeing him riding, she says, "When did you learn and why didn't I know?" Hearing this, there was a smile on Jian's face. Then we see a flashback of childhood where Jian had an artificial leg and Lina starts complaining at home that she also wants a leg like his. Her father scolds her. Then she sees that her mother is giving food to Jian. She gets irritated and says, "Am I your daughter or not?" Then the scene comes in the present and we see all of them in class where CJ gives 2 points to Jian in her scorecard because he learned to ride a bicycle. Seeing this, Lina says, "Why only 2 points? It should be 4 points. On which CJ says, "If I give 4 points, then the score will be over. It will be 100%, and then I will have to confess my love to him." Hearing this, C-Chain says, "Then give him 4 points, but Lina says, no, 2 points are enough." Seeing this, C-Chain thinks, "I am trying to impress her, and she is only thinking about Jian." He thinks, "I will have to do something." Then he comes to know about a drum battle game competition in which the winning team was to get limited edition sports shoes. He thinks that through this game, he can get closer to Lina. Then next day, Linia's class gets over, but Jian's was not over, so she goes home alone. Where outside, C-Chain was waiting for Lina. He tells her, "Let's have a riding competition," and she also agrees. After that, C-Chain takes her to the mall and tells her about that game competition and says, "You remember the promise of losing the bet, right?" So he wants her to help him win this game so that he can get these sports shoes. On which she agrees, but the problem was that she does not know how to play drums. C-Chain says, "It's okay, I will teach you." Now when they go, Gogo is already there because he thought that C-Chain will make him his partner, but seeing Lina, he understands and leaves. Jian was also in the same mall and seeing Lin and C-Chain together, he feels jealous. After that, Lina was practicing drums in the class while C-Chain was sleeping in the class. So the teacher takes both of them out of the class. Now outside, also both of them start practicing drums. Jian sees them that both of them have been punished, but they are lost in their own world. After that, Jian tells C-Chain, "You don't have to study, but don't disturb Lina." On which C-Chain says, "Don't you think you are controlling her too much?" After that, C-Chain says to Gogo, Why does Jian feel so jealous of my and Linya's relationship? But whatever it is now, he is my sworn enemy. In the next scene, Jian tells Linya, tomorrow you will go to the mall with C-Chain. What were you doing there? He explains to her, don't waste time in useless things, concentrate on studies. Lina says, but I have promised her that I will help her in getting sports shoes. Is it wrong to help? Jian says, well then is it right to get punishment for this? Saying this, he leaves angrily. After that, she also goes to eat hot pot alone. C-Chain sees her and comes to her and asks, why are you eating alone? She angrily says, Jian wants me to quit the game because it is disturbing my studies, but who is he to control me so much? C-Chain also agrees, he has no right to control you. Then after a while she says, but whatever he was saying was for my good, and saying this she leaves. On the other hand, we see Jian, who was practicing drums because he did not want Linya's studies to be disturbed in all this, but he also did not want to break his promise to C-Chain. So he was practicing to become C-Chain's partner. Now it was quite late and he had not come home yet. So Lina calls him and asks him. Then he makes an excuse that he is attending extra classes. Then she asks, are you angry with me right now? He says no. In the next scene, Jian was doing calculations for playing drums. Seeing this, Jack says, this is definitely for Lin. Jian says, you focus on your study else you will lose in the weekly test. On the other hand, Lina was practicing with C-Chain, but their performance was not very good. Then Jian comes and challenges C-Chain, and after seeing Jian's performance, both of them get completely shocked. In the next scene, C-Chain asks Linya to come for practice, where she says, if you practice with Jian, then there are more chances of winning. So now they start practicing together. On the way, Linya says to Jian, why do you always listen to English lectures? If you want to listen, then listen to this music, and she plays an English song which Jian also likes. She says, after listening to music, both of you can play well. In the next scene, Jian practices drums at home where Linya sees him and thinks, wow, he is so handsome, I had no idea. Then they practice everywhere in the school in the arcade and both defeat each other. Then we see that their final competition of the game starts and C-Chain and Jian's team performs very well and in the end they win. After which Lin, A and C-Chain are overjoyed. In the next day, C-Chain comes to school wearing his new shoes and asks CJ to add extra points for him in her notebook. After that, C-Chain thanks Jian where he says, I have done this not for you, but for Lin. Next in the canteen, Lin and CJ were having food. CJ says, we should go fast otherwise we will not get a seat. Lina says, don't worry, Jian must have reserved the seat, but there a girl named Daffy comes and sits next to Jian. Jian says, this seat is reserved. She says, I cannot get up from here because the sole of my shoe is torn. Then Jian gets up and starts leaving, but she stops him holding his hand and saying, don't go otherwise I feel embarrassed. Then Lina also comes there, sees another girl at her seat and gets very angry at Jian. She says, how can you make someone else sit in my seat? She asks, is this your new friend? Jian says, she is not a friend. I just know that she is Daffy. Lina starts shouting angrily, how can you make her sit in my seat? Jian says, don't create a scene. You sit next to me, but she leaves angrily from there. After that, she says to CJ, how can he make someone else sit in my place? On top of that, he was saying her name so lovingly. He has never spoken my name with so much love. Hearing this, CJ says, you are getting angry as if you are jealous of that girl. CJ asks, have you started liking Jian? Linya says, not at all, he is my brother. CJ says, you clarify whether you like him or not, and to find out this she asks Linya if you both have ever held hands. Lina says, yes, in childhood we both used to fight. CJ says that will not count as intimacy, and then she tells another way to find out if she likes him or not. She says, if you can look into his eyes for more than 10 seconds, then you both are pure siblings, and if not, then understand that you like him. Then the next day it was raining and Linya's umbrella was not opening. So Jian asks her to walk with him. She was getting wet from the sides, so she herself holds the umbrella, but Jian was not able to walk. So he takes the umbrella and closes her in and starts walking. Here for the first time, Lina feels something different. After this, Jian falls asleep in the bus. So he sleeps by keeping his head on her shoulder. This also makes Lina feel very different. Suddenly her sleep breaks and she starts counting by looking into his eyes, but she is not able to look for more than 4 seconds. Here Jiyeon explains that the sole of the girl's shoe in the canteen was torn, so she sat there, and I did not get up so that she could feel embarrassment. On which she says this should not happen from now onwards. He thinks, but what is there to get angry about in this? In the next scene, she again starts looking into his eyes to confirm, but her father disturbs her. Next, both of them were studying where he was teaching her geography, but in between she asks him what kind of girl he likes, on which he says the one who has big eyes and a sweet smile. Lina was thinking of Daffy only, so she thinks that maybe he likes Daffy only. Then he shows her test paper and says, "See how many mistakes you have made." She asks him to return his paper, but he was not giving it, and in this process of getting it from him, she falls on him. Lina again starts counting, but here also she is not able to look into his eyes for more than 5 seconds. So she gets nervous and runs from there. She thinks, have I really started liking him? Then she again counts while looking at his photo, but again she is not able to look at him for more than a second. After that, she takes some makeup products from her mother's room and goes to school. At the classroom, she asks CJ to help her with makeup so that her eyes also look big, but neither of them knew how to do makeup. Then C-Chain comes to them and shows her hairpin and asks, "How am I looking today?" CJ takes out her hairpin and puts it in Linya's hair and also detects C-Chain's 5 points. Then CJ asks Lin A if she has tried the eye-gazing method. But Lin A gets nervous and says, "No, I have not tried anything." Hearing this, C-Chain starts pestering CJ to know what this eye-gazing method is. After that, he buys CJ lots of snacks and also serves drinks and chips to know about what she said in class. After that, she asks him, "Have you ever held a girl's hand?" He remembers a scene with Lin A and says, "Yes." CJ asks, "How did you feel?" He says, "Very good." CJ then asks, "Has that girl ever held your hand?" He recalls a scene with Lin A and says yes. CJ then asks, "Did you both look into each other's eyes?" Then he also remembers a scene with Lin A and again says yes. Then CJ asks, "Who was the first one to look away?" On which he says, "I am." After that, CJ says, "Congratulations, you like her." On the other hand, after school, Lin shows her hairpin to Jiyeon and asks, "Am I looking a little different today?" He says no. Hearing this, she gets angry. In the next scene, she hears some girls talking that getting their uniform trimmed makes their figure look good. Hearing this, she also goes to get her uniform trimmed. Then the next day when she leaves for school, Jiyeon says, "You are looking very different today." Hearing this, she gets very happy. Then on the way, C-Chain also meets them and says to Lin A, "You are looking very pretty in the hairpin I gifted you." Hearing this, Jiyeon moves ahead in anger. In the next scene, Jiyeon asks Jack, "I have a friend since some days she is changing her dressing sense and style, and I am paying a lot of attention to her." Jiyeon says, "What's the reason behind it?" Jack says, "You are talking about Lin A." He says maybe she likes someone of her classmates. Hearing this, Jiyeon gets very angry. Then the scene changes and we see CJ where some books fall from CJ's hand. Then Lin A helps in picking them up. Here Jiyeon notices that her t-shirt is cropped too much. Then he tells her, "You should not have trimmed the uniform. This is not the norm in school." After hearing Jiyeon's lecture, she leaves from there angrily. Then at home she is thinking, "I am working so hard for him so that he notices, but he is giving me lectures." Then after some time she realizes that she should not have trimmed the uniform. On the other hand, Jiyeon had come to buy hairpins for Lin A where he meets Daffy, but he ignores her. Next day, Lin A searches for her jacket to go to school, but her mother had put it in the washing machine. So she has to wear the trimmed uniform and she goes to school. When she reaches, she sees that today uniform checking was going on, so she gets worried. Then Jiyeon comes and lets her wear his jacket. This saves her, but she finds a hairpin in his pocket which he had bought for her. Lin A returns the hairpin to him, but he says, "Keep it." She says, "But you must have bought it for Daffy because you like her." Jiyeon says, "When did I say that?" She says, "You are the one who said that you like girls with big eyes and a cute smile." Hearing this, Jiyeon says, "You also have big eyes." Now after that, Lin A is very blushing and starts thinking about Jiyeon. Then C-Chain comes to her and she returns his hairpin, which he does not like. Now Jiyeon's birthday was coming after 2 days. So Lin A goes with CJ to buy some gifts, but she was not able to understand what to buy. CJ gives her an idea to give the heart-shaped greeting card, but she says, no, it will be weird to give it. Then she sees a shirt that was perfect for the gift, but she did not know Jiyeon's size. So first she plans to find out his size, and then she reaches the library with CJ, where Jiyeon was studying alone. So both of them come close to him and start pretending to study and start taking his measurement. But by mistake the measuring tape falls, and at the same time Jack also comes and asks Jiyeon to go to class. When Jiyeon starts to leave, CJ signals that taking the waist size is still left. Then Linya pretends to fall and catches it so that she gets the idea of measurement. After that, the date of the school trip is announced, which was on the same day as Jiyeon's birthday. Linya gets worried that the trip is important as well as Jiyeon. After school, she asks Jiyeon if he is going on the trip or not. He says, no, I have to prepare for the next contest. Then Linya decides that she will not go on the trip. After that, C-Chain asks CJ about the trip. She tells him that it is on the same day as Jiyeon's birthday. Hearing this, he gets irritated and thinks, how can she not go? Then he forcefully takes her to the trip. Now in the bus, the teacher announces that first the three-leg game will be played in which boys and girls will participate. Lin and C-Chain are selected from Linya's class. C-Chain gets very happy and deliberately delays starting the game because he had come to know that Linya wants to run away from there and go to school and celebrate Jiyeon's birthday. Now CJ was also getting irritated by her behavior. So she starts scolding him. She starts arguing with C-Chain, and taking advantage of this, Lin ties the legs of both of them and runs away from there. Then C-Chain tries to stop her, but CJ stops him and bites him, due to which Linya successfully runs away and reaches school. Then we see that C-Chain also reaches school behind Linya, where the head teacher sees them both. So both of them start running in two directions so that the teacher cannot catch them. Now while running, she meets Jiyeon and takes him along and hides in a room, where due to a falling object both of them become very close and they also have eye interaction. Linya again starts counting, but this time Jiyeon looks away. Just then C-Chain also sees them like this. In the next scene, we see all of them in the head office, where the teacher asks both of them, what are you guys doing here? Linya tells that she came to celebrate Jiyeon's birthday. First, the teacher scolds them a lot. Then, because it was Jiyeon's birthday, he asks them to cut the cake. After that, the atmosphere becomes a little fun and Jiyeon feels very good. On the other hand, Jiyeon's father sends him a birthday wish message, but he doesn't reply even after seeing it. After some time, Linya comes and gifts him the shirt. Jiyeon says that he liked this shirt very much. Then Linya gives him a card and asks him to go to the room and see it. After that, Jiyeon's mother calls him and wishes him and says, next year you will turn 18, then you should stay with me because your future can never be bright by staying with your father. After this, he sees the card given by Linya. It was written in it, I wish all your dreams come true. In the next scene, all the teachers ask their respective classes to perform for the New Year festival. While Linya's entire class was quite excited, but on the other side, no one from Jiyeon's class wanted to participate because it was a first grade class and the students were not interested in participating. The students also avoid participating, so the teacher says that at least a student from our class will have to host the event, and for this they decide to vote. On the other hand, the four of them decide that they will do a unique dance. Here Jack teases Jiyeon, saying, I will vote for you only. Jiyeon says, I will also vote for you. The four of them discuss what kind of dance will be done. Here the fight between C-Chain and CJ starts automatically. After that, Linya says to CJ, why do you get so angry with C-Chain? On which she says, because I don't like him. Then they come to know from some students that Jiyeon has got the most votes in the voting to host. Linya is very happy and encourages him to host, but he does not show any interest. The next day, she was practicing dance in the class when CJ comes and tells her that Daffy is going to host from the girls' side. Hearing this, Linya gets angry that she will not host the event because of Jiyeon. So she asks Jack to host and says, you will be perfect for hosting. Then Jack tells Jiyeon that Linya seems to be interested in him. Jiyeon stares at him and Jack says, but I am not interested. Outside, Linya requests the students to vote for Jack, but everyone had voted for Jiyeon. Then she uses a smart idea and goes to their class and takes out all the slips from the voting box and starts putting slips with Jack's name, and in the meantime the teacher sees her. Now because of this she has to face the teacher's lectures. Then the teacher makes Jiyeon the host. After this, the practice session starts where CJ starts teasing Lin and even more saying, next week Jian and Daffy are going to work together. Now C-Chain hears their conversation and thinks that everything is going well. Then their team's performance starts where they were not even performing properly, so they get eliminated. But the teacher gives a chance to Gogo because he was performing well, but he requests the teacher to give his group another chance. They will work hard and perform well. So the teacher gives them a chance. Everyone is happy with this. Now after school, Linne goes to call Jian to go with her, but just then Daffy comes there and asks Jian to come with her to prepare the script for hosting. Seeing this, Linne gets jealous and goes away from there. But she waits for Jian outside where she sees that both of them are coming together and she starts watching them secretly. Here Daffy intentionally takes a photo of Jian. Seeing this, Linne gets very angry and she goes home alone. After some time, Jian goes to her house, but Linne shouts from inside that she does not want to talk. Next day in the morning, she reaches school without calling Jian, where CJ teases her saying she is feeling jealous that both of them will host together. On which Linne says hosting together is fine, but yesterday Daffy was touching him and he was not even refusing. CJ says maybe he likes Daffy. In the next scene, they were practicing where Linne was not able to concentrate on practice. As soon as she sees Daffy, she goes and tells him to delete Jian's photo. She says, "Why are you having so much problem? You are just his sister." Hearing this, Linne gets angry and says, "I am not his sister." Now after that, Daffy and Linne also come to the practice room to practice their script. Linne was getting more irritated by accompanying them and was just looking at them. That is why she was not learning anything. Then C-Chain catches her and starts teaching her. Now seeing them close, Jian gets angry and he leaves from there. Next day, Daffy tells Linne that the hairpin that you wear daily, I helped Jian in buying it. Hearing this, Linne angrily goes to Jian's class and returns the hairpin to him and shouts, "Don't come to my house." Hearing this, the students start talking. It seems that what exactly is the relationship between these two? In the next scene in the canteen, Daffy again comes and sits next to Jian, but this time Jian ignores her and goes away. Meanwhile, the four of them were practicing, but no one was paying attention. Gogo gets angry that they were not serious and says, "We all promised to collect our best memories, but if the performance is like this, then what kind of memories will be collected?" Hearing this, they also realize and all three convince Gogo. But now a new problem comes because Gogo gets hurt during the rehearsal. So the class teacher asks them to drop out, but they convince the teacher. On the other hand, Daffy and Jian were also doing rehearsal where Daffy had removed Linnea's team's performance. When Jian asks her, she says that one of their team members has got hurt, so their program will get cancelled anyway. Jian says that they should remove it when it gets cancelled. Now all four decide that someone else will do Gogo's step and Gogo will do the easiest step so that he will not get distracted much. So now they start their rehearsal. Linne also starts practicing at home. Jian comes to her and starts looking at her. Then she starts to leave. He stops her and says, "I don't know what someone says to you, but I bought this hairpin for you myself and I want you to wear it daily." Hearing this, her anger ends and she becomes happy. Then she shows him her rehearsal where Jian says, "I am seeing you working so hard for the first time." She says, "I am working hard to create a grateful memory so that in future I never feel guilty that I have not done anything in my school life." So after working very hard, finally the school event arrives. Before the event starts, Daffy gives a tie to Jian to wear, but he wears the hairpin made by Linne. Seeing this, Linne becomes very happy. Then one by one all the performances start, but due to bad weather an order is received to cancel one program. Then Daffy tells the teacher that it will be right to cancel the program of Linnea's team because one of their team members is injured. On knowing this, they become very upset. Now the event ends and all the students start leaving. Just then Jian stops them saying, "One last program is left and we all know how hard they have worked, so I think we should support them." Then all the students sit back and Linnea's team starts their performance. It is the best performance till date, so the class teacher feels very proud and C-Chain's father also feels very proud of him. Now, even after the performance is over, Daffy says sorry to Linne and tells her that she lied about the hairpin thing. Linne asks, "Why did you lie?" Then she tells that Jian treats you too special and I don't like it. She also tells that she likes him a lot. After that, Jian puts a scarf around Linya's neck, and then they go home. Lina tells him that Daffy likes you, and he says, yes, I know. On this, hearing this, she gets surprised and says, you know, then how can you take it so lightly? She says, it can disturb your studies because such girls distract you. Then she tells him, you are his puppy. Can't fall in love, on which he says, okay, I will not fall in puppy love, but you will also have to stay away from puppy love. Now after that, they prepare a no puppy love agreement in which on violating the rules Linya will decide what will be the punishment. So here the first condition was that both will not fall in love before becoming adults. Second, both will maintain distance from their opposite gender. Third, no one will call the opposite gender by pet name. Jian teases her saying, for example, dear, darling, etc. Then both of them sign the agreement and promise that they will not break the agreement. After that, it is shown in the flashback that when in childhood Linya's mother promised to buy her a toy but did not buy it, due to which she starts crying a lot. Then Jian makes a toy for her at home. Then Linya says, why don't these adults keep their promise? Where he says, I don't know, but when I become an adult I will keep my promise. After that, at school, a girl comes and gives snacks to Jian. Seeing this, Jack says, I wish some beauty would give me snacks like this. Just then a girl comes and gives him snacks and says, please take care of Jian. Jack gets very irritated with this. After that, Linya shows Jian a letter and says, I have received a love letter for the first time. Jian reads it, which was not a love letter, but it was written, you dance very well, I hope you will teach me too. Jian starts laughing after reading it. Then she says, it's okay, I was a little excited because this is the first time I have received a letter. Then Jian reminds her, do you remember the contract? She says, yes, I remember, I don't want to fall in puppy love. Now here their conversation is overheard by C-Chain. In the next scene, C-Chain says to Jian, will you stop interfering between me and Linya? How can you make her sign the contract? He asks, do you like her? But Jian doesn't say anything on this. After that, C-Chain concludes that maybe he likes her, but he himself is not sure. He tells Goga that, I should take advantage of this opportunity and become a bone in their kebab. After that, wherever he saw her, he used to come to disturb her. Here during break time, he sees that Linya has put her hand in Jian's jacket to warm her hand. C-Chain immediately goes to them and disturbs them. He says, you both are brother and sister, and it is not right to be so close. Now his behavior irritates Linya that why is he not letting me stay with Jian? After that, she asks CJ that, why is he not letting me stay with Jian? She also tells CJ that Jian has also forbidden her from calling me brother. CJ asks, why is it so? Does he like you? Linya says, no, it cannot be so. She says, maybe I don't get good grades, that's why he doesn't want me to call him brother. On the other hand, Jian asks Jack that, what would you like to do if you fall in love with someone? On which he says, I would like to kiss him. On the other hand, C-Chain also feels that he is irritating Linya, so he thinks of another plan to impress her. In the next scene, he asks her to go with him to buy a comic book, but she had promised Jian that she will concentrate on her studies, so she refuses. The scene changes where Jian was remembering Jack's words after seeing Linya. Then she says that she feels like eating ice cream, so both of them go to buy ice cream. As soon as Linya takes the stick in her lips, he blows it off, and at the same time the kissing thing was also going on in his mind. Then she lets him eat it too. After that, Jian asks Linya's fortune teller that, what should someone do when someone falls in love? On the other hand, C-Chain says that this plan of mine also failed, but if she cannot come with me to the bookstore, then why don't I buy her a book and impress her? On which Gogo says, it's a good idea, let's go. C-Chain says that we will buy it later. First, I can't leave my dream of basketball for romance. On the other hand, Jian takes Linya to the bookstore and says that you can read comics because you need to study, and it is also important to take a break between classes. After that, he gives her company in reading the comics. Now, it is quite late, so she gets worried that what excuse will she give to the parents? On which Jian says, I have already told them. Hearing this, she says, that's my brother. On which he says, I told you that don't call me brother. He says, we are childhood friends and also neighbors, then why do you call me only brother? So don't call me brother. She says, okay, from now on I will call you only Jian. Next day, C-Chain is very angry when he comes to know that Lin A and Jian spent their whole day at the bookstore. After that, CJ goes to return a book, which was a romantic novel. Seeing this, C-Chain teases her, saying, "Now I will have to tell everyone that our class topper also reads romantic books." He says, "By the way, I will keep this a secret if you say that C-Chain is the most handsome man in this world." Then CJ has to say this. Next day at class, C-Chain gives Lynn a constellation matching book and asks her to read it because the matching percentage of both of them was 98% in it. After that, Linnea's parents were not at home, so she takes advantage of the opportunity and starts watching TV. Just then, Jian comes to teach her, where he sees this matching book and asks her, "When did you start reading all this?" She says that C-Chain has given it to her. Now knowing this, he also looks at the book and in the couple horse cop matching making page. He changes the matching of C-Chain and Lynn F from 98% to -98% and adds one more 9 to his and hers, which was only 9%, and he makes it 99%. After that, when Lynn sees this percentage, she becomes very happy, but when she reads the horoscope, she sees that all the predictions with C-Chain are positive and all the predictions with Jian are negative. Then she feels that this is a fraud of the book. Then next day, she returns the book to C-Chain. C-Chain sees the discrepancy in the percentage, then he understands that all this must have been Jian's work. Then here Gogo shows CJ that look, yours and C-Chain's matching percentage is 100%. On the other hand, C-Chain says to Jian, "Did you change the percentage?" Jian says yes. C-Chain says, "Then there should be a fair competition." After this, Jack tells Jian that there is going to be a debate competition this Saturday. Jian says that he will not participate. On the other hand, C-Chain tells Linne that this Saturday a theme event is going to be held in the comic book store. The co-player who wins will get the latest edition collection. Linne gets very excited on hearing this. C-Chain says that we both can become partners and I will prepare the best costume and we will get the prize. Jian also hears their conversation. After that, Jian, in order to spoil C-Chain's plan, fills the form in the name of C-Chain in the debate competition. On the other hand, C-Chain is very happy after preparing his and Linnea's dress as well. But the next day, he comes to know that he has been selected in CJ's group in the debate competition. Hearing this, he is surprised to know that he has not even participated. How did he get selected? But CJ gets even more worried because it was confirmed that their team would lose because of a fool like him. After that, C-Chain tells Linne that, "Don't worry, I will reach the event somehow." Now on Saturday, C-Chain leaves for the debate competition and goes to the event. He was even wearing a costume. But on the way, his father sees him and quietly picks him up and takes him to school. At school, the debate competition was about to start. Now everyone starts laughing after seeing C-Chain in such a costume. He was worried that the debate should end soon so that he can go to the event. On the other hand, Jian also reaches the event where Linne is very happy to see him, but because it was a theme event, she starts preparing a costume for him. On the other hand, C-Chain is called up to give the debate summary where he gets frustrated and says, "What is the use of this summary and this debate?" He says all this is a waste of time. People should value time and others' time too. But his frustration is understood by everyone and they start clapping. In this way, his team wins. Now after that, he runs straight to the event with the medal. At the same time, the best co-player in the event is given to Jian and Lin, and their photo is also put up outside the bookstore. Seeing this, C-Chain gets even more angry. After that, Lina removes Jian's makeup, after which they go and sit on the bridge. Here, Linya was feeling cold, so Jian makes her wear his jacket. Then both of them talk, and then fireworks start there, which makes both of them very happy. In the next day, Jack teases Jian after seeing the photo of their co-player. "It seems you are looking very happy. Have you started liking someone secretly?" Hearing their conversation, Daffy says, "I think I will have to do something or else Jian will go out of my hands." So she goes to his old school with one of her friends, where such a rumor spreads that there are ghosts and there is a magical mirror in which the photo of her destined partner is reflected. So Daffy does this, in which Jian's photo is reflected in the mirror. Here she also makes a video of this and makes it viral. And after watching this video, the news spreads in the school that Daffy's destined partner is Jian. But Linya does not believe this to be true, and she goes to Daffy and tells her, "You are spreading rumors." She says, "What you are spreading is not true, and I will prove it." In the next scene, Jian was having lunch with Linya in the canteen, where the students gossiped that, "Why is Jian with Linya?" He should have his destined partner Daffy. Linya was about to answer them in anger, but Jian asked her to keep quiet and ignore all these nonsense. After that, she decided that she will find out the truth of the old school myth. The other three also agreed and made plans to go there. On the other hand, Daffy makes their plan, while C-Chain also makes a plan with Gogo that Gogo will scare Lin-A by becoming a ghost, and when she will get scared, C-Chain will save her and impress her. On the other hand, Jack prepares a night vision gadget and tells Jian that today he will go to find out the truth of the old school. Now it is night, where Gogo was ready as a ghost wearing white clothes and long hair. After that, Lin-A and CJ also come there. They come to the main gate where it was locked. So C-Chain opens it with a cliff. It was very dark inside, and then they hear some horror sound from the second floor. CJ and Lin-A were feeling very scared. Then C-Chain sends a message to Gogo that they are going to the second floor, so you should also come there quickly. Here, due to fear, Linya's mobile falls down. But he does not have the courage to pick it up again. So they move towards the sound, which was coming from a room. As soon as they open the door, everyone screams, but it was not a ghost there, but Jack. Jack says, I have also come here to find out the same thing. Lin-A asks, were you making this horror sound? He says, no, it was the sound of the radio playing. On the other hand, Jian comes to know from Linya's father that she has not returned home yet. So he calls her, but her phone was lying down. On the other hand, they all see a pair of shoes in the room. On looking carefully, they find out that it was bought recently. Then CJ also sees blood in the room, but after seeing it, Jack tells that it is paint. Then Gogo messages C-Chain that I am in the lecture room. So C-Chain asks Lenya to go to the lecture room and say, let's check there. Then Gogo comes from behind and runs away after scaring her, where Jack also goes behind him to catch him. On the other hand, C-Chain by mistake catches CJ instead of Lin and runs away. Then, even without seeing her, he confesses his love. Hearing this, CJ says, you are confessing love to the wrong person? Now seeing her instead of Lin, C-Chain starts arguing with her. Then some sound comes from the drawer and both of them gather courage and open it and get scared. While on the other hand, Daffy also reaches there and gets scared seeing Gogo. Gogo keeps shouting and running. I am not a ghost, I am Gogo. But hearing his voice, Jack starts chasing him. Here Gogo is wearing skate shoes, so he is not able to quickly run down the stairs. Just then, Jian calls Jack and asks about Lina. Jack says, she was with me just now, but I don't know where she has gone. Meanwhile, Lina starts looking for that mirror in fear. Jian also reaches the campus. When he comes inside, he finds Daffy lying there. She says, stay with me, I am feeling scared. Jian says, it will be good if you stop spreading rumors, and then he calls Jack to take Daffy. On the other hand, CJ gets so scared that it was difficult to even get out. So C-Chain helps her to get out by holding her. Meanwhile, Lina sees a mirror in a room where she sees Jian in that mirror because he had also reached there. Just then a box was about to fall on Lina, but he saves her life. Then he starts scolding her. Why do you do such things in the house without telling your parents? If something happens, they will be worried for no reason. On coming out, C-Chain gets scared after seeing something and he grabs CJ. Now after coming home, Jian tells Lina that after this there is no need to pay attention to all these rumors. She says that even if all this is fake, I believe in the myth of Dustin Lover because I have seen my Dustin Lover. Next day, Daffy realizes that Jian did not like her at all, so she starts deleting all his photos from her mobile. Then the next day, this rumor is exposed. Now after this, the monthly test ends in which Lina got some good marks. So her parents are happy and stick the mark sheet on the wall. After that, the new year comes and her grandparents also came to celebrate and talked about meeting Jian. So she goes to call him, but Jian was not at home. On the other hand, Jian had gone to the police station to get his father's bail, who was caught during gambling. Here he crosses the limits of shamelessness because he starts asking money from the policeman for New Year celebration. Seeing this, Jian says to him that mom was telling the truth that you are a useless person. Then he also starts abusing his mother, saying, because of her we are in this condition, and she left us for money and went with someone else. Now Jian reaches home in a bad mood where Lina was waiting for him for a long time. She asks, where were you? Then he lies saying, I had gone for shopping. Then she shows him her bun where he says, you are looking very cute in these buns. On the other hand, Lina's mother was also in a bad mood because she was fired from the company. However, when Linnea's father tries to bring a smile on her face, then she also tries to bring a fake smile in the happy atmosphere. After this, Jian and Linnea enjoy a lot on the roof where she shows him rice wine. Jian refuses to drink, saying, "Students should not drink all this." On which she says rice wine is different from wine, so drinking it will not do any harm. Then she starts drinking, then all the friends make a video call and wish each other a happy new year. Here Si-chain gets irritated on seeing Linnea with Jian. After that, Linnea gets very drunk. Jian cuts the call and tries to console her. Then Jian gets a call from someone. Linnea says, "Is it Daffy?" Jian says, "Jack is there." Linnea says, "You cannot talk to him." She says, "Nowadays you spend too much time with Jack. I got to know that you only like toppers. But can you change your preference because studying is very hard?" Then she asks, "Can you bring down the moon?" He says, "You are very drunk." Linnea says, "Can you bring it down or not?" He says, "Okay, I will bring it down for you." Linnea says, "It means you like me, so if you like me, then why don't you say it?" She says, "If you will not say it, then how will we know each other's feelings?" Then the scene cuts and we see Jian on his bed thinking about this, while thinking he was also missing his mom. After that, he dreams that his family was a happy family, but due to gambling there were fights in their house, and one day his mom started leaving the house. Jian tried a lot to stop her, but she left saying that she will definitely come back, and with this he wakes up in the morning. After that, when his mom calls him, his father snatches the mobile. Then to avoid any fight, Linnea's grandfather comes to them and gives Jian a red card. In the next scene, Linnea's parents and grandparents leave for their hometown. Now taking advantage of this freedom, she buys a lot of spicy food. After that, Linnea sends a message in the group and invites everyone for dinner. Now CJ and Gogo were busy, so Si-chain becomes very happy. In the next scene, we see that Linnea had eaten all the food alone before their coming, due to which her health deteriorated completely. She somehow calls Jian, so he immediately comes to her. Jian tries to call the ambulance, but it was raining heavily, so the ambulance service was closed. After that, he starts carrying Linnea to the hospital, but this was putting more force on his leg, due to which it was difficult for him to walk. On the way, Jian even falls down with Linnea. In the meantime, Si-chain was also going to Linnea's house, and he sees them. He quickly comes and carries Linnea and takes her away. Here, for the first time, Jian feels himself helpless. Jian reaches the hospital and calls Linnea's parents and informs them about her, and also tells them that Linnea has been brought to the hospital by Si-chain. But when they come, they see Jian on the way. Linnea's father asks his wife to go to the hospital, and they go to Jian, where Jian says, "10 years ago, I became disabled because of you." Here we see a scene of flashback when Jian was running behind his mother to stop her. Just then he had an accident with Linnea's father's car. In the present, Mr. Liu says, "I am trying my best to make up for that mistake." On which he says, "What is the use of this?" He says, "You don't know what I am feeling today because of you. I am not able to protect the person whom I want to protect." Along with this, a childhood scene is shown when other children were bullying Jian, then Linnea protects him. Jian says to her, "When I grow up, I will be taller than you, and then I will protect you." The scene comes in the present where Linnea asks her mother whether she was brought here by Jian, on which she says, "No, Si-chain brought you here." On the other hand, Si-chain was very happy that now he has become a hero in Linnea's eyes by saving her. Then Linnea sends him a message and thanks him. This makes him even more happy. Then Linnea asks him if Jian had also come to the hospital yesterday, on which he remembers the flashback of last night when Jian had reached the hospital and told him not to tell Linnea that he had come here. However, he did not want to lie here, but he lies to Linnea that he had not come. After that, she meets Jian and says, "Why are you ignoring me? You are not even replying to my messages." Jian says, "I was busy." Then she says, "That day you took me to the hospital." Jian says, "How can I take you?" She says, "But I remember you took me." Jian says, "You had fever, that's why you were dreaming." But she gets upset with his words and leaves. She asks her father, "Why is Jian behaving so strange recently?" Her father explains, now he has grown up, he cannot share everything with everyone. It is possible that something is going on in his mind, so give him some time, he will be fine. Now the winter vacation ends. Linnea goes to call Jian to go to school, but finds out that he has already left. Then we see Jian, who was practicing running but was not able to run, so he gets very angry at his disability. In the next scene, everyone is present in the class where C-Chain says, "This time I will get selected in the basketball tryouts. I have practiced all the time." On which CJ says good luck to him, but C-Chain was not able to digest her saying good luck. Then Lin comes to the class with a sad face and asks them, if someone suddenly changes their behavior, what could be the reason for it? On which C-Chain asks, is Jian fine? Lin says, how do you know I am talking about him? Meanwhile, the teacher comes and tells everyone, this semester you all have to choose whether you will take arts or science. After school, Lin asks Jian, what has happened to you? Why are you avoiding me? But he says nothing. Then she again says, what should I take, arts or science? He says, you should not ask me this. She says, but you have always helped me, right? So why not now? He says, now you choose your own path. Lina says, Dad had said to give you some time so you will be fine, but it has been so many days, but your mood has not improved till now. Jian says, should I accept everything? Can't I refuse? I am also a human being. Why does everyone have a choice, but I don't? Saying this, she leaves, but Lin is not able to understand his point. In the next scene, her parents decide whether she should take arts or science, and a debate starts between them because Mom wanted her to take science while Dad wanted her to take arts. Next day, Lin asks CJ what he selected, where she tells that she will take science while Gogo and C-Chain did not matter because he was going to fail anyway. Now here Jian hides after seeing Lin, which CJ notices. Then the scene changes and we see Linya's parents, where Linya's mom asks her husband, what is the matter? Why does Jian not come to our house these days? Then he tells that maybe he is frustrated. Remember that day when Lina fell sick? He was definitely upset at that time because he was not able to help her. He was definitely blaming himself for his disability. Linya's mom says that now he has grown up, even if he blames us, it will not be wrong. After this, Linya's dad goes to talk to Jian, but he was still not in the mood to talk. In the next scene, the basketball tryouts start. After which Lina meets C-Chain, where seeing her off mood, he tells her the truth that day Jian was bringing you to the hospital, but I brought you halfway because he was not able to walk. He refused to tell this. While going, I saw him with your father. They were not talking properly. Lina understands that the reason could be a car accident. Then she tells about that accident to C-Chain and says that maybe his pain has still not gone. He was right. I always used to ask him to be my friend and brother, but I never asked him if he wants to be my friend or my sister. And she decides that from today onwards, she will not disturb him anymore. On the other hand, Jian was practicing how he should tell Lina whether she should take arts or science. But he did not see that Jack is behind him. So Jack starts teasing him. Then he sees that Lina was telling CJ that she has decided to take arts. After that, C-Chain tells Jian that he told Lin everything, that he took her to the hospital. This also spoils Jian's mood. Now C-Chain sees that he has not been selected for basketball. This hurts him a lot. In the next scene, CJ makes him sit in a bookstore and says, I don't know why you are so obsessed with basketball when you are not even good at it. So there is no need to be so upset. But she sees that he is crying. C-Chain says, I am fine. After that, Lina also maintains distance from Jian. Then at night, Jian tells Linya's fortune teller that now Lina is dooming him. Now she does not wait for me to go to school. She has also chosen the art subject herself. And I wanted this only. But why am I not happy? Does she really not need me now? After that, Jian calls his doctor and asks how to make his running faster. The doctor suggests that he should do as much physical exercise as possible, and since it has been many years, he should also change his artificial leg. On the other hand, Gogo also decides to quit the game after not getting selected in the basketball team for C-Chain. On which C-Chain explains to him that you are the best player and don't lose your opportunity for me. I will try again next year. Now from their conversation, Lin and CJ also come to know that even though both of them behave like children, but they are also mature. On the other hand, Lin comes to know that Jian's class teacher has changed, so the class is being transferred from the ground floor to the second floor. In the next scene, Jian goes to the classroom to transfer her stuff, but Jack tells him that Lina has shifted all your stuff. After that, the new teacher comes to the class and asks, a student was absent in the gym class, who is he? The students tell him that he is Jian. The teacher asks Jian, "Are you sick?" He says no. The teacher says, "Then from tomorrow you will be present in the regular gym class." Next day he is present in the gym class but does not do exercise. The PT teacher tells the new teacher that Jian has never done gym class before, so it is not right to force him. On which the teacher says that rules are equal for everyone. Seeing that, teacher Linne gets angry that why are they targeting only Jian. She submits a complaint letter against the new teacher to the principal, on which the principal tells the new teacher about Jian's condition, where he says that I know about his health condition. I have also talked to the doctor. He is physically weak due to not doing physical exercise, so I am not keeping him under proper supervision. I want to train him, and the principal is also happy to know his good intention. In the next scene, Linnea's father sees that Jian is practicing running, but his leg was not supporting him. He understands that now he needs to get his artificial leg changed. There, Jack asks him, "You practice with me daily, but why don't you practice in school?" On which Jian says, "Until I improve enough, it is embarrassing for me in front of everyone." Next day, there is going to be a meeting in which all the classes will have to parade. Jian's class also comes for the parade, but he does not come. So the class teacher tells everyone, "Until he comes, you all will stand like this." Then the students of the class start shouting at Jian in anger. Seeing this, Linne cannot control herself. She comes straight to the teacher and starts talking rudely to him. "You can't target Jian like this." Then Jian also comes down seeing her and apologizes on behalf of Linne. Then he joins the parade, but he was not able to match his speed with the other students. Seeing this, everyone was getting frustrated because of him. They were not able to form their line properly. So they start misbehaving with Jian. Seeing this, Jack gets angry, but Jian asks him to keep quiet. While Linne makes a plan with her team that they will have to teach a lesson to Jian's classmate who is troubling him. In the next scene, Linnea's father gives Jian's father money to get his artificial leg changed because he knew that now Jian will not take his help. Then Jian's father also transfers 30,000 to Jian and asks him to get the artificial leg changed. When he asks where did you get the money, he says that he won it in gambling. After that, Linne meets Gogo and C-Chain steals Jian's classmates' shoe-wearing masks on his face and warns him that if he troubles Jian further, then many more things can be stolen. Their actions were such that they came to know that this is Linnea's gang. When they go to complain to the teacher, Jack stops them and says, "When you people are having so much trouble on not getting a shoe, then just think how Jian would feel when he doesn't have one leg." Jack says, "We are classmates, so we should support each other and not criticize." Then they also realize their mistake, and one by one all join Jian for training. On the other hand, Linne was now getting worried that Jian might come to know that they were all helping him, so she avoids him. But when Jian sees her at the bus stand, she starts running. Jian also runs and catches her. He asks, "Why are you running?" She says, "You were chasing me, that's why, but how can you run so fast?" He says, "We will run for a few days." He asks, "Why are you avoiding me?" She says, "Because you yourself did not want to see me." Jian says, "Sorry, I got too emotional. I should not have talked to your father in that way." Just then a bicycle crosses the road and Jian pulls Linne towards himself, and while doing this her ankle gets fractured. Then Jian starts carrying her. On the other hand, C-Chain was building his imagination that when he wins the sports competition he will confess his love to Linne. To win the sports competition, he asks CJ for her diary, which had the record of all the boys and their weaknesses and strengths. But she refuses to give it. Then he blackmails her. The one who reads the romantic novel will tell everyone about it. So she gives it. On the other hand, Linne comes to know that Jian's health has suddenly deteriorated. She goes to him and asks him to take medicine so that he can give the final representation tomorrow. Jian also feels good that now she is not asking him to quit. On the other hand, C-Chain asks CJ for another help, that how will he confess his love to Linne. She says, "First you win the sports competition and then come to me." He says, "If you help me, I will buy you a diary of the new collection." Then she agrees and says, "Right as I am saying," and he also notes it down properly. The next scene is of the sports meeting where all the classes parade, and Jian also represents his class in a very good way, which Linne records and smiles after watching it. On the other hand, C-Chain was memorizing his love confession note. Here Jian sees him. Now after this, their sports also starts, in which Linnea's class also participated in the 400-meter race. Here Linne, Gogo, and C-Chain's performance was very good, so they win the race. Now the winner team had to give their speech where C-Chain gives his love confession letter to Jack and says, "When I will get the prize, then read it on my behalf in my style." Then he goes to get the prize. Then Jian comes and starts reading his confession letter, and whatever love-filled words were for Linne, he writes them to her father. Hearing this, C-Chain's father gets very happy and hugs him. Seeing this, CJ could not stop laughing. Next day, the teacher tells that after the exam from the next semester, the class will be divided into arts and science. Now Linne and CJ get very emotional, but they promise each other that they will remain friends. Then the exam result comes out where Linne failed in 2 subjects while C-Chain did not fail, but his father was not supporting him for basketball. Then he gives him a chance that if you can bring your rank under 200, then I will give you admission in a sports college. C-Chain also accepts this challenge. On the other hand, Linne signs her mother's name on her scorecard to save herself from her parents. On the other hand, her mother was worried about her job because she was not getting any job. Meanwhile, Linnea's teacher calls her father to the school where her mother goes and finds out that she has failed in 2 subjects and even signed her name on the scorecard herself. Now she runs to beat Linne in the school itself. Linne goes to Jian and asks him to save her. Then her mother says, "You go home and I will see you at home." After that, Linne tells Jian to save her at home today. Linnea's mother was already worried about her job, and on top of that, she finds out that Mr. Liu has spent all his savings on Jian's artificial leg. Now a fight starts between them regarding this. Linne feels very bad due to their fight. After that, at school, she asks Jian for help in teaching. Then C-Chain also comes to them and tells Jian to help him in teaching. First, Jian could not believe that he wants to study, so he gives him 6 subject question papers and says that he will teach him only if he solves them by tomorrow night. C-Chain also accepts the challenge. On the other hand, the argument between Linnea's parents continues, but the argument increases so much that it reaches to divorce. She says, "As soon as Jian turns 18, I will not give him a single rupee and we will divorce because I am tired of such a life." Then Linnea's grandmother calls them and tells that grandpa has suddenly fallen ill. It has gone bad. In the next scene, Jian sees that Linne is sitting at the bus stand. He asks her if she wants to go home. Linne says she doesn't feel like going there because her parents must be fighting. After that, she goes home and sees her father very upset. She also doesn't like it. So now she decides to study well. On the other hand, C-Chain also starts studying. Gogo and CJ are most surprised to see them both studying so much. Now the test result is out, in which C-Chain comes in the top 200 and Linne breaks the record because she got 43rd rank. Then she goes to Jian and tells him this good news. C-Chain is also very happy. After that, C-Chain's father also agrees to support his basketball career. Linne also tells her mother her result. She is very happy to know this, but asks if she would like to stay alone with him. Now Linne also understands that her parents are going to divorce, and that is why she was sitting sad on the roof. When Jian goes to her, she asks him to tell a heartwarming, sweet fairy tale story, on which he starts telling the story of his own family, that there was a loafer dog and a cute rabbit. One day the dog saw the rabbit and fell in love at first sight, but because of his bad reputation, the rabbit did not want to date him. Then one day some animals started harassing the rabbit. As soon as the dog came to know about this, he came and beat them badly, due to which he was jailed. Years later, after coming out of jail, he proposed to the rabbit again. Then the rabbit also accepted the proposal. They both got married and they had a cute baby, which was a cat. But the dog was not able to give up his bad habit, so the rabbit had to take care of the baby along with doing his work. Years passed and the differences between them increased. Then one day the rabbit left the house, after which the cat started living with the dog. One day when the cat went to the hill, he fell from there into the valley and one of his legs was broken. Now at this time, she also understood that Jian is telling his own sad story. Jian continues, "Then in the valley, he met a chick with big eyes. Both of them started living together and grew up, but the chick was unaware of the outside world. Then suddenly she started getting worried about the outside world. Then the cat held her hand and said, 'Whenever you feel scared, look at me. I will visit the outside world for you.' Next day, Lin A tells the three of them that her parents are going to divorce. In the next scene, Jian sees that Mr. Liu is drinking secretly, whereas he never used to drink before. Jian asks, "Did you and Auntie have a fight because of me?" He says, "No, there is nothing like that." In the next scene, Mr. Liu gets a call from the police station where Jian's father had gone to jail again because of gambling. Mr. Liu goes and bails him out and then asks him to have a drink with him. Mr. Liu says to Jian's father, "Please stop asking for money now. I agree that the accident was my mistake, but I also have my own family. I am not able to manage because of your gambling." Now a fight starts between the two on this matter. Next day, her mother calls and tells that she is coming home with Grandpa in a few days because he was not being treated properly there. On hearing the news of her coming home, she gets shocked. She becomes very happy. After that, her father tells her that your mother is not angry for money nor because of your bad results, but she is angry with me because for so many years I have been thinking about only Jian. On which Lina says, "You have not done anything wrong because Jian is also a part of this family and one day mother will definitely understand you." Now Jian comes to know that the expenses of his artificial leg have been borne by Mr. Liu. He gets very angry with his father and now decides that now he will stay abroad with his mother. His mother is also very happy with this decision. In the next scene, Lin comes home from school and is very happy to see her mother here. She says, "You stay at home with Grandma. I and your dad will stay in the hospital with Grandpa." Next day at school, Jian tells his class teacher that he is going abroad. After that, we see Linya, who is making handmade bracelets for the safety of her family members. When Si-chain also asks her to make it for him, she refuses. Now after school, Lin and Jian go to visit Grandpa. On the other hand, Si-chain was very angry that even after trying so hard, why is Lin not impressing him? After that, Lin goes to Jian's house to give him a bracelet. But inside, Jian was having an argument with his father. From the argument, she learns that Jian is going abroad, but his father was not giving him permission to go. Then Lin returns to her home where her father says, "Maybe everything will be fine if you make your mother's mood better." So they decide to buy a new sofa. Lin now starts getting angry with Jian that why is he suddenly going abroad. When she tells the other three about him going abroad, everyone tries to make her feel comfortable. Jian's mother completes the entire process of his going abroad. Jian learns that he will not stay with them there, but with her. Mom has arranged a new apartment for him. He tells her mother, "That means you will not live with me." On which she says, "Now I have a new family, so maybe you will not be able to adjust in it, so it will be better if you live separately." Then Jian remembers a flashback of his childhood when once his mother came to meet him and giving him some money says, "Don't wait for me, I will never come back to this house, but one day I will definitely keep you away from this house and this man." After that, Jian starts missing Lin because if anyone understood his feelings, it was only Lin. Next day, Linya's father brings a new sofa home. On the other hand, grandmother had gone out of the hospital and got lost somewhere. Linya's mother was not able to find her when Jian sees her, so he also starts searching for her. On the other side, two boys were bullying grandmother. Seeing this, Jian's father beats them up and chases them away. By then, both of them also reach there. Linya's mother thanks him. Here, hearing the conversation of Jian and his father, Linya's mother comes to know that Jian is going abroad. Now when they reach home, Linya's mother gets angry on seeing the new sofa and says, "We have to pay the hospital bills, we have to pay Linya's tuition fee, we have to run the house, and why you waste money by buying a new sofa?" Now Linya gets irritated that why does the discussion always stop at money? When Jian tries to explain to her, she scolds him and says, "You will go abroad, it will be better if you don't talk to me," and goes to the room and starts crying. After that, Mr. Liu says to Jian, "If you want to go abroad on your own, then my support is with you. But if you are going thinking that you are a burden on us, then I will not support you for this, because I have considered you as my son. If you are not able to adjust there, then this house is always open for you." Next day, Linya says sorry to her mother and asks, "Are you not divorcing, father?" On which she says, "I will talk to you about this later." On the other hand, Jian was missing Lin by seeing her old photos and videos. On the other hand, CJ tells Si-chain and Gogo, Lin is going through a hard time right now. Her grandfather is ill and her parents are getting divorced and Jian is also going abroad. Si-chain says, "Neither we can cure her grandfather nor can we stop her parents from getting divorced, but we can stop Jian from going abroad." So he tells Jian Lina will not be happy if you go. On which he says, I am going so that she remains happy. Si-chain says, if you have decided to go, then I am also going to propose Lin because I want to see her happy. And for love confession, he makes a paper plane in which he writes the names of all the countries of the world. Gogo, seeing his hard work, says, if I were a girl, I would make you my boyfriend. On the other hand, to make Linya's mood better now, when his father takes him out, he feels a little better. Next day at school, Si-chain drops all those paper planes from the top, which makes all the students very excited. He takes the mic and tells Linya, there are 195 countries in the world. Wherever you want to go, I will take you there. Just don't ever get upset, and I like you. Then he was about to say this when Jian cuts his mic connection. But after that, Si-chain meets Lin and says, I like you. Hearing this, Jian leaves from there. Lina first thinks it is a joke, then he becomes serious and says, I like you. Then she says, I like someone else. Then Si-chain changes the topic and says, you are serious, I was just joking. In the next scene, when Jian comes home, he sees that his father has thrown all his packed stuff here and there so that he changes his plan of going. On the other hand, CJ tells Lina the truth. Si-chain was not pranking you, but he has always liked you. Gogo also knows that he has been liking her, but he had forbidden her from telling both of us. Lina says, what should I do now? It will be so awkward to face him now. So she decides that she will avoid him. Now Jack's score in CJ's scorecard had become 100%. So she confesses her love to him. Jack also says, seeing her calculation, your calculation is good, but Mr. Perfect is not chosen by calculation but by heart. Like you and your heart both like him. And says good luck to her and leaves. She was also returning home with the rejection when she sees Si-chain in the basketball court. This poor guy was also heartbroken, so she takes him to an amusement park to make him feel better and makes him try a lot of adventures. After which Si-chain says, for all this my 10 points should be added. Where CJ says, now I will not make a scorecard because today I also proposed to someone and I also got a rejection and I realized it. She said, Mr. Perfect cannot be found through score. Si-chain says, but one day you will definitely meet your Mr. Perfect. Here both of them interact and the situation becomes a little awkward. After that, Lina avoids seeing Si-chain, but he says, we can always be best buddies. She gets very happy on this and says, yes, we can be best buddies. Then both of them come to school. Then she sees Jian and stops him and says, sorry for shouting at him. She also says, whatever decision you take, I will always support you, and gives him the bracelet made by her own hands and says goodbye and leaves. After that, she goes to the beach to relieve her frustration, where she sees Jian's laptop, which he had kept for her. On the other side, Jack asks Jian, do you really think that Lina will be happy if you go? I hope you don't feel guilty about your decision. Hearing this, Jian says, I am already feeling regretful, and the cycle takes a U-turn. Meanwhile, Lina was watching his goodbye video in which he was telling everything about Lina from her childhood till now. Seeing this, she starts crying and says, won't you go? I want you not to go. Just then, Jian also comes and says, okay, I won't go. Seeing this, Lina starts hitting him, then Jian stops her. Then we are shown a flashback of childhood when Jian's father was scolding him because he was talking to his mother secretly. He was about to hit him in anger when Lina comes and protects Jian and gives him chocolates to improve his mood. Coming back to the present, Lina says to him, do you really not want to go abroad? Jian says, it will not make any difference to my mom if I go there or not. And he tells her, actually, when my mom left, I knew that she will never return, but now I have become so strong that I can accept this. Lina says, no matter what happens wherever you live, I will always be with you. In the next scene, Linia's father says to Jian, if you are not going abroad for your father, then there is no need for it. Jian says, no, I want to stay here myself. And he gives him his diary containing accounts, and he says, in the future, I will repay you with all your money. Seeing this, Mr. Liu tears the diary because he had never considered Jian a stranger. After that, everyone has dinner together where Linia's mom receives a call and through which she comes to know that Grandpa is no more. So Linia goes to her hometown with her father, and there she misses Grandpa a lot, but is also happy because now her parents can talk to each other and solve all the problems. The misunderstanding was cleared. On the other hand, Jian's mom came to take him abroad, but Jian tells her that he will not go. His mom explains that your future can never be bright here. On which he says, when I had an accident, I used to think every day that you will come to meet me, but you never came. She says, then I was not capable to take you, but now I am. Then Jian returns her watch, which means that now he had moved on from his mom. Then his mom also leaves. Then she finds Jian's father outside. She pushes him and says, you are still useless. Then Jian comes and consoles him and says, your family is abroad, but my family is here. Hearing this, his father feels both happy and embarrassed. Then Jian takes him home. By then, Linnea's family also comes there. Next day, Linne goes to Jian, where he says, in childhood, when my mom left me, I was very hurt. But now she again left me and went away, and I thought I would leave this time too, but it didn't happen this time. Then Linne consoles him. He says, I am very lucky that I met you. On the other hand, Jian's father was outside doing some job research. Seeing this, Mr. Liu comes there and says, you are here so that Jian is not disturbed. He says Jian could not believe that he would improve so much. Then both of them sit and talk. Meanwhile, in the basketball court, C-Chain was forcing CJ to play basketball. To trouble him, he even starts training him, but this was making CJ's heart beat faster. Meanwhile, the ball falls near those two uncles. Then Gogo asks them to pass the ball. On seeing Mr. Liu, C-Chain recognizes that he is Linnea's father. Here he introduces everyone to Jian's father. Then Jian's father challenges them for a match. Then C-Chain and Gogo lose badly. So both of them leave from there. Then Mr. Liu invites Jian's father for wine, where he tells that he has stopped drinking. He also gets very emotional while telling that Jian called me his family, whereas I am not even worthy of being called family. So from now on, I don't want to be counted in his eyes anymore. I don't know if I will get a job or not, but I want to do a decent job. On which Mr. Liu warms him up. On the other hand, Gogo teases C-Chain that why do you look so happy with CJ? On the other hand, Linnea's mother sees Jian and says sorry to him and takes him to her house for dinner, where his father was also there. So now everyone starts having dinner together, but here Linnea's mother scolds Jian's father saying, you are not able to raise your son. On which Jian's father apologizes to everyone. Now Jian also forgives him. The scene changes where Jian's college entrance exam result is out, after which he chooses astrophysics for his major study. His father had also come here, so he tells him to choose some other subject instead of astrophysics. They ask him to choose a subject that will help him get a good job in the future. On which he asks him, if you have ever regretted loving my mother. He says no. Jian says, I have never regretted my decision either. After that, before going to college, he gives all his study material to Linne, where she says, don't worry, I will work hard and will take admission in the same college next year. Jian says, I will wait for you. Now their last semester starts. Linne decides to take help from CJ in studies and talks about it while C-Chain also joins them. On this, both of them tell him that nowadays you are too excited about CJ. He says there is nothing like that. While doing study, C-Chain was staring at CJ, which both of them also notice, while CJ starts feeling very nervous. Here Jian keeps taking updates through video calls from time to time. Then one day, all the friends meet in a cafe where C-Chain comes and sits next to CJ. She starts running out of nervousness, but falls on him and both of their hearts start beating fast. Now Linne had not gone out for the whole year, so her father asks her to go to meet Jian, but she refuses because it will disturb her studies. On the other hand, Gogo asks C-Chain if you like CJ. C-Chain says, I don't know, I am not able to confirm myself, but I don't want to lose her as a friend either. In the next scene, we see Jian, who is waiting for Linnea's call. Here Jack teases him that if he can't call, then why doesn't he call himself? Then luckily Linne also calls him and starts praising her own study. Then Jian lets her solve the calculation, whose answer was 521314, and its meaning in Chinese is, I love you forever. But Linne is not able to calculate, but Jack does it and teases him that in this way she will never know that you like her. As the final exam was coming nearer, Linne was taking more stress in studies. She gets frustrated and shares her frustration with Jian's father because he was also frustrated. After all, Jian had not called him for a long time. Now next day he calls her on the pretext of Linne and says Linne is taking a lot of stress in studies, so you come and meet her. On the other hand, Lin A asks CJ if she likes C-Chain. CJ was also not sure about how she feels. She says, "We will see after the final exam." Next day, Jian comes to meet her, and she is very happy to see him. Then he helps her in studies for the whole day. She asks him, "What if I don't get good marks in my exams?" Jian says, "There are many colleges. At least we can stay together in one city." Now the date of his final exam comes, which was to start from tomorrow, so his parents were more worried than her, and as the more you take tension, the worse the situation becomes, so it happens. On the day of the exam, his father was worried about loose motion since morning, and because the exam time had also come, so they all leave for the school with Jian's father. But on the way, they remember that they've kept the gas on, so Jian goes back. But when they reach the school, Lina sees that she has forgotten to bring the admit card. Jian's father and his mother immediately leave for home. She also calls Jian. Then he quickly takes her admit card and leaves for the school and reaches on time. Lina is happy to see him on time. Then he says good luck to her and asks her to go to the exam hall. Now after a few days, the result is also out, where Lina passes with good marks, so she is very happy and hugs Jian. After that, everyone meets in the school and clicks a lot of photos. After which their whole class thanks their class teacher for teaching them for so many years and for taking care of them. Then all four go to the beach and promise each other that even if everyone lives in different places, their friendship should remain. On the other hand, Jian had come home where he sees that his father is going to sell all the material of gambling. He is very happy to see this. After that, his father opens a sweet shop, which he names as Jian's Sweet Shop. On the other hand, Linya's mother says, now Linya has grown up, but still she lives with Jian. On which father says, if both are dating each other, then it is a good thing. But the mother was a little worried because she was worried about Linya. Here Linya was helping in Jian's father's shop. Meanwhile, his slippers break, and then Jian goes to buy new slippers, but his father asks him to carry Linya so that their relationship grows faster. So Jian also starts carrying her. Then when they reach home, Linya's mom sees them like this and feels a little awkward, which Jian also notices. After that, he meets her and directly tells her that he likes Linya. Now she did not expect Jian to say it directly, so after thinking a bit, she says, "You are a good boy, but we as parents want to see Linya always happy." Jian asks her to trust him and promises that he will always keep Linya happy and protect her. But mom was still worried, so she goes to talk to Linya, where Linya says that she also likes Jian from a long time. She tells her that she will be very happy with him, so there is no need to worry about him. Then mom also accepts them. But both of them have not proposed to each other yet, so Jian practices love confession with Jack. After which he asks Linya to come out, then they go to the beach where CJ, C-Chain, and Gogo were already present. Jack was also present to see how Jian is going to confess his love, but Jian gets angry after seeing everyone. But since everyone was together, they have a lot of fun together. After that, Jian signals to Jack to distance the three of them so that he can confess to Linya. Then finally, he proposes to Linya and Linya accepts. Both promise each other that they will stay together for a lifetime. On the other hand, C-Chain snatches CJ's diary to trouble her. But he sees that CJ has given him full marks. She gets nervous and says that he must have miscalculated by mistake. "You don't even deserve 100 marks. C-Chain says, "I don't deserve it right now, but the day you feel that I deserve it, you should keep your promise that when I get full marks, you will confess your love to me." Now both of them had a smile on their faces. After that, everyone sees Linya and Jian holding hands and understands that now they are in a relationship. So everyone congratulates them. Then everyone has a lot of fun, and with this, our sweet drama ends here. How would you like this drama? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe our channel for more dramas like this.